I'm going to spend the next 50 hours in the 1980s, replacing all my modern technology and just stuff with the 80s equivalent, starting with the Commodore 64. This is the best-selling computer of all time. It also does not come with a screen, so I need a TV to plug it into. This is literally a black and white television. I cannot believe this is actually working. Now, unfortunately, the Commodore 64 doesn't really come with many apps off the bat. It doesn't even come with a mouse. But that's where this comes in, a tape player. So if I type load here, press play on tape, hit play. And now I have to wait for 15 minutes whilst the game loads. 15! We are on! Let's go! Here we go! I'm just gonna go full send now to the bottom. What? Right, this time I'm gonna be a bit more methodical about it. I'm not gonna zoom all the way down. How did that hit me? Scuba dive is almost impossible because the TV is in black and white and the objects are invisible. So I'm gonna have to try a different game. Impossible mission. I'm really trying not to panic here, but the Commodore 64 is stuck on this screen. It's just like a blank screen. I think it's broke. I've just been to the bank to get some cash because everyone used cash back in the 80s and I need some lunch. I'm going to a classic 1980s diner. Honestly, it's a classic.
Hiya, have you ordered off the app today?
My phone looks like this. I definitely did not order off the app. No, a regular Big Mac meal please with a Coke.
Yeah, what drink can I get for you?
A Coke. Have you ever seen a £1 note?
No, I haven't.
From the 80s. Yeah. Thank you very much. Cheers, mate. Wow. I feel like that packaging hasn't changed. Look at the packaging on this as well. There's no way this has changed since the 80s.
Yes, it has.
To give this video a feel like it's being recorded in the 80s, I've recorded this whole thing using a camcorder and 8mm film. And this camcorder almost weighs 1.5 kilos. You can probably see what's going to happen here. Can you see? Ow! I'm so sorry. Oh God, the camcorder, it weighs a flipping ton as well. You can see why McDonald's took off. Timeless recipe. This is the Vodafone Vodac, and it's my phone for the next 50 hours. But there's a major issue, and that's that all 80s phones are run on analog networks, and they don't exist anymore. But thankfully, back in the 80s, these were not the only way you could make calls. If this next method doesn't work, the next 45 hours are going to be very hard. I'm at a payphone. At least I think that's what I said, because the camera didn't record any of the audio from this section. So yeah, this is me going into the payphone, looking at all my money. That's quite a lot of money I had for this call. I don't know how much I thought it was going to cost. I'm going into the payphone. Let's get it. Oh, here we go. Lift the handset to make call. I lift it up. I go to make the call. And then it says, no cash calls. You can't use cash at this payphone. How ridiculous is this? Like, what is the point in a payphone if you can't use cash? So yeah, I had no working phone for the whole of this challenge. One of my favourite things to do is running. And I need to go for a run. But 80s running gear is notoriously interesting. That's one way to put it. So there's no way on earth I'm dressing up in that.
Relax, don't do it when you wanna go to it. Relax, don't do it when you wanna come. Relax.
Let's go for a run, guys. What do you call running with a Walkman?
Don't.
Runman. The camera's packed up. The camera is broken. 80s technology at its finest, but it didn't stop me from finishing the run. My head is itching like an unbelievable amount. 80s sports gear though, wow. It's amazing. What a day. I've done so many new old things today. I mean, it's been great, but I'm pretty knackered now. And I want to do nothing more than just veg out and watch a movie. Thankfully, films were around in the 80s. I'm going to be using a VHS player. And this is what a VHS looks like. They're absolutely massive. pull that lever to turn the TV on. It'll take a second, but there we go. And now we're on this screen. I need to turn this dial until it finds the station which the VHS is playing on. Yes! Look at that! This is honestly so cool. Watching a film from the 80s on a TV from the 80s made it so much better. It just felt so authentic. My girlfriend Molly stayed to watch the film with me. The time just flew by. And before I knew it, it was the end of day one.
Good morning, 1980s. Day numero uno.
I started off the day by making a cup of tea using milk that was delivered in a glass bottle, just like everyone had back in the 80s. There's one thing that I've got to do today which is so 80s you would not even believe. But the first product I'm going to be showing you today was the Sony Walkman. For $635 in today's money, you can play one tape at a time. It comes with a graphic equalizer, a headphone jack, the volume scroller. I don't even know what there's a high, a mid, a low on the graphic equalizer. What do any of these mean? I don't know. A rewind and a forward and a stop button. And you use tapes. Now that's what I call music for. Or we've got some Grace Jones. Some good options here. I just love the sound of the Walkman, just pressing all the buttons. And then hit play. Why is it not playing? And the best bit is, you can probably hear what I'm listening to right now. And this is how you skip a track. You have to skip through all the other songs by just using the fast forward and replay button. There's no skipping tracks. Let's try some electro. Even now the Walkman's a pretty cool piece of kit, so I can only imagine what it was like in the 80s. Next up is portable games. What's ridiculous about these is that each game is a different device. It's like having to buy a new Nintendo every time you want to play a different game. I've got 7 of these games from the 80s, and I'm going to see how many of them still work. Donkey Kong. Yes! Oh my days! I can't believe this still works. Donkey Kong 2. The screen is literally falling off this one. How does this work still? 5 of the 7 40-year-old games still work. They don't make stuff like they used to. Donkey Kong Hockey, though, had to be the coolest game. A portable game with 2 wired controllers, meaning you could play multiplayer on the go. Is this not the coolest game you've ever seen? I played against myself. Oh, Donkey Kong scored. And managed to lose 10-0 somehow. I ought to hit it back. Come on! Are you stupid? How do I lose 10-0 against myself? Then I played Molly.
What am I?
And,
am I this thing?
Yeah, lost again. But these portable games are genuinely really fun. Look at this film camera I've got as well from the 80s. This is the Kodak 200. You spring load it like that on the bottom. You press the button on the top. Picky! Guys, got a huge announcement to make. It's my new biggest fan. Look at this! It's got lights. I don't know why it has lights, but it's cool. It does sound like an aeroplane. And it comes on wheels as well. You could say it's a wheelie big fan. It's coming to the end of day 2 here in the 80s. And I'm out on the BMX. This is so cool, honestly. And to go with my attire, I've got a helmet as well from the 80s. Ow. On the skate park now, so let's see what happens. Dudes! This is super cool to me because I used to ride BMX like all the time, but I don't do it anymore. So just coming back now, riding this bike, I don't know, it's pretty cool. This is actually my dad's bike that he rode at the same age I was when I was massively into BMX. And BMX was how I started making YouTube videos as well. So this whole experience was just super nostalgic, this bike. The brakes don't work. I spent an hour at the skate park before returning home to use one of the coolest products yet. This is a hi-fi system. As far as I can tell, it's just a massive Walkman with a few extra features, obviously. It has a stereo synthesizer, integrated amplifier, a stereo double auto reverse tape deck, and a compact disc player. This is actually my mum's from when she was a teenager, but my granddad never let her have speakers for it. So I had this massive hi-fi system but could only use headphones for it. I've actually got speakers for this though, so I'm going to use it now to do what I'm told peaked in the 80s. Dancing. This is going to be so embarrassing.
Turn around, so hot and dry. You're hiding under a halo. Your mouth is alive. Get out of my way. Get out of my sight. I'm not attracted to go deeper tonight. Hey, what's your word? What's your game? I know your business, but I don't know your name. Hold on tight. You know she's a little bit dangerous. She's got what it takes to make ends meet. The eyes of a lover that hit like heat. You know she's a little bit dangerous.
Good morning. Repping the Sergio Tacchini this morning. There's one last item I've got to show you, which is so 80s, you won't believe. I hope they had tea cakes back in the 80s. They definitely did. This is like the oldest chocolate snack ever. It's wrapped in foil, for God's sake. But before I use this item, I found the issue with the Commodore 64. So the issue was actually with this cable, and I don't know if you can see, but it's like degloved. It's broke. Here she is. First thing I'm going to say, this thing was a nightmare to set up. It took like 3 people to get this working. One of the issues you have with a typewriter, which you definitely don't get with a keyboard, is when you type certain keys, they get stuck. I think this typewriter needs an MOT. There is something really satisfying about using a typewriter, but it is also very impractical. I think every single person can conclude that replacing the typewriter with a computer was one of the greatest innovations in humankind. I spent the last hour of the challenge trying to solve a Rubik's Cube and just socialising. And that's it. 50 hours in the 1980s, complete. But as I reconnected with social media, I did have to ask myself one thing. Were people really less connected in the 80s?